good stead for the race tomorrow, which will take place at 9 p.m. UK time tomorrow. Backdawn, how you doing? I hope you are good. Make sure that's on the right page. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I still think Max obviously has the edge, but if Lando can just, I found out as well that Lewis wasn't just speeding in the pits. I think a normal penalty would have been 5 seconds, but he was 10 kilometers over the speed limit. There's actual footage of him. He sort of slows down and then goes quite fast. I'm not really sure what he was doing or why he was doing it. Maybe he thought that the speed limit didn't apply because it was a safety car going through the pits or something. I don't know, but he quite was clearly speeding by 10 kilometers. Is a lot. And that's the reason he had a drive through. Is because of the amount over the speed limit he was. Otherwise, he would have just got a 5-second penalty. Not that it would have really mattered. It would have still taken him out the points anyway. So it is what it is. But yeah, the reason he got that penalty was because of how much over the limit he actually was. Interestingly, Kevin Magnussen, in an interview, basically admitted he knew what he was doing. And he knew that what he was doing wasn't good. He said, I had to create the gap like I did in Jeddah using these stupid tactics, which I don't like doing, but at the end of the day, I did my job as a team player. Nico scored his points because I got that gap for him, not the way that I like to go racing. So he knows what he did. And in a previous interview, he said, yeah, I accept the penalties. He knew what he was doing would likely get a penalty, but he did it so that his teammate could have a gap. Well, I mean, that's just absurd. I mean, that's the definition of unsportsmanlike behavior. He knows what he's doing is going to be punished, but he's doing it anyway to aid his teammate. And I believe because of his comments, he was called to the stewards. So he might have something to answer for there, because he's probably dobbed himself in a little bit by speaking the way that he did. So it's going to be really interesting to see if anything comes from that. Because you can't really admit to that sort of thing and, potentially not get away with it. So we'll see. He's basically snitched on himself. I mean, that's what's happened. He's absolutely snitched on himself. And so, yeah. He's kind of asking for trouble, really. So, let's see. Let's see what happens to him. I suspect he might be in a spot of bother. So, a normal qualifying session, I am still expecting Max to be toward the front. And by that I mean at the front. But maybe Lando? If Lando can nail his laps, I still think there's a chance. So, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. Because I think if Lando can put it on pole or on the front row, then I think we're in for a much better race. Yeah, I mean, my ultimate thought is that Max will probably still get it, but if Lando puts it together like he did yesterday, excluding SQ3, I think he'll have it. I think he'll have the speed, but he's got to put it together, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that. I wonder if there'll be any setup changes for the teams, because the way that it works now in the sprint is that you have a parc ferme from the end of, well, the start of sprint qualifying to the sprint race, and then a new parc ferme from the start of this qualifying to the Grand Prix, so that you can change things now between the sprints. So it'd be interesting to see if any of the teams decide to change anything. Mercedes, for instance, were potato slow on the straights, so it'll be interesting. Good evening, Girth. Is Lando a nickname? No, that's his first name. Lando Norris, that's his name. Yeah, Lando's his first name. Maybe his dad did just like Star Wars. Maybe. No, Michael, no.
Subscription received. Dispensing gratitude.
Yeah, thank you for the 27 months.
Dispensed.
No, Michael,
Bloody hell, there's a huge queue of cars waiting to get out. Bloody hell. Everyone's just waiting. There we go. It's just started. 18 minutes. I watched that incident back again. I watched a couple of them back. The Hamilton incident at the start. And Alonso's obviously blamed Hamilton. And it does look like Hamilton's coming in too fast. I don't doubt that. But when you actually look at it, the two Aston Martins are already coming together. Like, they're already coming together, and they've caused the incident before Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't really cause anything further in that incident based on the angles I've seen. I still think he was coming in too fast. I'm not saying he's not culpable at all, but obviously Fernando Alonso has blamed Hamilton, unsurprisingly. But the two Aston Martins were certainly on top of each other before that. Well, that is a big question. Do Mercedes reach Q3? It depends, really. If it's a little bit cooler, I think they have a chance. And if they've made any changes, maybe they have a chance. But ultimately, I just don't think they have the pace. So it'll be interesting. Good eve, Daz. So we'll see. Yeah, they were great in Sector 1. They were just terrible down the straights. So pretty much all the cars have gone out on old soft tyres, and a lot of them, as was reported, are the cars that have changed things from the sprint. They're just going to be now just testing and seeing what they've changed and if it's worked. So it's only an 18-minute session, but they're just going to go out for a few laps and see. Yeah, so K-Mag is in the stewards because he admitted, basically, that what he did, he was doing intentionally. I was reading this out earlier. He said, I had to create a gap like I did in Jeddah using stupid tactics. I don't like doing it, but at the end of the day, I did my job as a team player. Nico scored his points because I got the gap for him. It's not the way that I like to race at all. And he also did an interview where he admitted that the points, the penalties he got were completely fair. Basically just admitting that he absolutely knew what he was doing. And he was doing it intentionally. Which obviously is pretty bad, I think. But there we go. I think Magnussen's going to be in trouble for those comments. He's going to be in trouble for those comments. Because it just shows that he knew exactly... Well, we know that's what he knew. But the fact that he's come out and admitted it isn't great for him. But we'll see. Yeah, Hamilton, very, very... K-Mag did nothing wrong. What? I mean, he absolutely did. What are you talking about? He did like 5 things wrong. He did like 5 things wrong. No, come on. Come on, let's not be silly now. Let's not be silly. He admitted he did stuff wrong. You can't be like, oh, he's done nothing wrong, when he's actually said, yeah, I was over the limit, but I did it on purpose. That's insane. Like, listen, he absolutely he went off the track and gained an advantage at the chicane, which, as it turns out now, he did on purpose.
We are checking.
He outbraked himself into the second to last corner. Like, the back straight. What? Twice, 3 times to stop Lewis getting past him? He went off the track, came back on, and nudged Lewis. He was penalised 3 times, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. I don't think we can say he did nothing wrong. I think that would be pretty outrageous. Big T, thank you very much, by the way, for the Prime. 6 months, I appreciate you. We can't pretend like he did nothing wrong. Because he knows he's done something wrong. The problem for him is that he's admitted he's done stuff wrong and was doing stuff wrong intentionally. So it's different if someone does that and they're like, well, I was just pushing and I was trying to defend, but he's basically admitted that he knew what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? And he was doing it on purpose to build a gap for Hulkenberg. Well, that's worse, isn't it? That's his problem. I mean this, though, I genuinely. If people actually... I've seen so many takes on social media saying... Magnussen's the best thing to happen because it's entertaining and I can't wait for him to do the same tomorrow and they're basically saying that it's great because it was entertaining. But that's not fair racing. I want entertaining racing, but I want it to be fair. That's not fair. That's over the limit. And it's not for me. But sadly, people look past that because they're like, yeah, no, it's great, it's entertaining, but it's not. It's too far. You know, it's dangerous. I'm surprised he didn't get a black flag. He deserved one, I think. Yeah, Max seemingly has said that the clutch is fine, so I don't think there'll be a problem there. Sainz and Leclerc currently P1, P2, but they were on used tyres, so... If he was given a black flag Is anyone really pretending that he wouldn't have deserved it? Even he would have accepted a black flag. He would have. Because at that point, the damage was done and his teammate was 4 seconds up the road. I think if you're being honest with yourself, absolutely no one could have complained if he was given a black flag. No one. But he wasn't. You know, so... Well, no, he wouldn't. You would just get... Guys, we're forgetting what happened in Jeddah. This is what happened in Jeddah. I can't remember who was behind him in Jeddah, but he was slowing through the S's and, you know, he was defending like an absolute... He was defending over the top in Jeddah, wasn't he? Yeah, Albon was behind him. There was a group of cars behind him because he was trying to build a gap for his teammate Hulkenberg to pit and come out ahead of them. There was like a group of them behind, and it was talked about after that. Well, that, you know, that's not racing. Now, in terms of slowing down in the high-speed corners, you could argue that's just tactical. And as long as he's not doing anything dangerous, you could say, well, that's fair game. But the defending when you've lost the corner by just braking, you know, 3 car lengths later than you're meant to, that's not racing to me. And he went off the track, then came back on just to nudge wheels and stay ahead of Lewis. The problem is that Max was doing this for a large part of 2021, and he wasn't punished for it. Again, I'm not blaming Max. Max was pushing it to the limit. It's the FIA's fault. Because if they would have said, you can't do that, Max would have stopped doing it. He's going to push the rules until he's told otherwise. And, you know, numerous drivers do it, and they're going to keep doing it. And that's the way it is. Anyway. I don't think I've ever seen Claire Williams' husband at a race. Verstappen's currently P1, Sainz and Leclerc P2, P3. Hamilton's come into the pits, put on a new set of tyres. Hamilton, purple, Sector 1, as has been the case a lot for the Mercedes in Sector 1. They've had a purple first sector a lot. It's just the second and third sectors where they're struggling. See, Hamilton was purple in Sector 1, but he was 2/10 down in the second sector. He's got it stopped, though, in the penultimate corner, so he'll put in a decent lap here and get himself out of trouble. Goes to P3, 28-1. 10th and a half away. That's not too bad for Hamilton. But presumably Verstappen will go out on a fresh set of tyres and put in a much quicker lap, so... Russell goes P8 with a 28.3. What about Yuki? Yuki probably needs a better qualifying, doesn't he? Goes P12. Norris. Okay, let's see what lap time Norris can put in here. Sainz goes quicker by a 10th. Looks good, you know, that McLaren through the middle sector. Looks really good. Piastri goes P3 on a 28 flat. P2, 28 flat. Currently, the top 4 drivers are separated by a 10th. Less than a 10th, the top 4 drivers. Sainz, Norris, Verstappen, Piastri. Pretty good. Yeah, Welsh Lando, Llandudno Norris. Oh, Max has got something stuck in his wheel, on his wheel brow. Tell you about it's gone. Yeah, it seems to have gone. I thought he was going to come on the radio and talk about it, but he was just complaining about the Alpine. Oh. Yeah, someone was right. It was Tsunoda right on the end of the penultimate corner. Oh, what's Tsunoda doing in the middle of the track there? Why is he slowed in the middle of the track? What's he done that for? Also, Ricciardo's got a 3-place penalty, by the way, from last race. So Perez goes P1 with a 27.7, by the way. Oof. Evening, Zoo. He was parked right in the middle, wasn't he? Oh! Jesus. I was just watching that Hadz, right, coming out of the garage. And his engineer is telling him, come, when quite clearly he couldn't make it. That's the mechanic's fault, that is. That's 100% the mechanic. He stopped, don't get me wrong. But the mechanic's telling him to leave the garage when there was a fast approaching Red Bull. That's madness. Look at this queue now. They literally stopped in the pit lane. Like, we're meant to have stopped this from happening. We're meant to have stopped this from happening, but it's still happening. Because, yeah, the rules here need to be clarified. We can't carry on having whole cars like just stationary in the pits. Oh, come on, Charles. You can't blame the Williams there for you locking up. Come on. The Williams isn't intentionally trying to ruin the lap of a Ferrari. Come on. We just can't have this situation where you've got like 12 cars lining up in the pits and they're essentially, you know, stationary because drivers are trying to find a gap. We've got to find a better solution. I don't think one-shot qualifying, sadly, is the way either, though. We were talking about this a few days ago. It just... Track evolution is so important in Formula 1 and track temperature and track evolution that one-stop qualifying would be incredibly unfair. And any sort of rain would also make it very unfair as well. There just needs to be a rule where you cannot categorically, like, drive unnecessarily slow in the pit lane or stop. Done. Boop. Well, that's what I said. I said, what if you did it on reverse championship order? So the person leading the championship, let's just say Max Verstappen, he would have to go set his lap first. And then, let's say Logan Sargent, who's last, they would get the best track conditions, essentially, because they're at the bottom of the championship. That's the only fair way you could do it. The question is, how would you do it on the very first race of the season? I suppose reverse championship order from the last season. That's the only way you could do it, I guess. So yeah, that's all you could do, but I'm still not sure it would be fair. I mean, obviously we used to have it. You know, it used to be just fine, didn't it? So weather would still be a ruiner, but there's not much you can do about that. I just think ultimately we need to do away with this, you know, drivers just driving slow in the pits. You just got to, the FIA have just got to enforce it more. There's been rules previously about it. It just doesn't seem to have been enforced. Oh, there's cars everywhere for the end of Magnussen's lap. Magnussen's not getting out. Yeah, 17 for Magnussen. Sargent goes 12th. Woof. Albon needs to put in a lap. So does Danny Rick. Albon goes P8. Tsunoda and Ricciardo, let's see where they end up. Ricciardo, obviously, Ocon into 8th as well. Tsunoda will go through pretty comfortably, I think. Yeah, P9 for Tsunoda. Danny Rick go... He's out! What? Oh, Danny boy. What's happened there? What's happened there? I don't know what's happened. I genuinely have no idea what's happened there. Gasly P5. I don't know. I'm going to need to see. I'm going to need to see because I'm pretty sure Danny Rick had a good first and second sector. So he must have made a mistake somewhere. He must have. Hey, Alonso only just scraped through, 15th. He only just scraped through. I'm not sure he did another lap, though, and I think Hamilton abandoned his lap as well. Verstappen did finish P1 on fresh tyres, but Perez was less than a 10th behind. So, bottom 5 is Bottas, Sargent, not last, by the way. Bottas, Sargent, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Zhou Guanyu. Yeah, Fernando Alonso believes that he gets punished because he's Spanish. He's pretty big on the old conspiracy against him, actually. he firmly believes it. Yeah, I mean, K-Mag definitely... There was definitely a lot of cars to get through in the final sector, and even though I'm not sure they directly impacted him, I think it's very easy sometimes when they're on that inside line to maybe be a little bit distracted, perhaps. I think that's probably fair. He probably was a little bit distracted, at the very least. And maybe that's why he went a little bit deep. Yeah, deep, man. We'll see. I just don't understand it. I need to see what happened to Daniel Ricciardo, though. I need to see what happened to Daniel Ricciardo. Because he had such a good lap yesterday and such good pace in the sprint that I just need to see what happened because there must have been something. Something must have happened. Yeah. Okie dokie. Sorry, I was just checking the football results while there was a break on. I assume Man City won, did they? Didn't actually see. Oh, yeah, 5-1. Smashed it. I mean, they're going to win the league, aren't they? We haven't seen a replay of the Danny Rick incident yet, so... Well, I say incident. I'm assuming he made a mistake. I'm assuming he must have. He just said he had no rear. Oh, actually, yeah, he's got a 3-place grid penalty, so he's going to start last anyway. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, he lost a lot of time down at turn 8. It's weird, though, because he had such a good sprint race and such a good sprint qualifying, and then in the race just seems weird. In this qualifying, just seems weird. Yeah. Now, I will say this. What was Norris's final lap there? Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Norris put it in 3rd there. Well, basically, the problem with Magnussen was that he admitted after the sprint race that he was doing it intentionally to get Hülkenberg a gap. And the problem I have is you're admitting that what you were doing was intentionally reckless to stop Hamilton getting past because you believed Hamilton would get past and then get past Hülkenberg. That isn't okay, is it? That's beyond fair, hard racing. Because he then gets a 10-second penalty and he's like, fuck it. If he got a 1-race ban, there is a potential there that would at least make it clear to people that you can't do this. You can't do this, you know? So, I don't know. The problem for him is that he admitted it. He got 3 penalties for his driving in a sprint race. 3 penalties in 1 sprint race. And then after the race, he admitted that he was doing it intentionally. I mean, what's a driver got to do to, get some repercussions for that? I mean, it's wild, isn't it? So I don't know. That's up to the stewards. If he was banned, I mean, he'd only have himself to blame. Should have kept his fucking mouth shut after the end of the race. Doing what he did was bad enough. At the end of the race, he should have just said, it was tough out there. I was just doing my best. Whatever. He shouldn't have said what he said. If you're gonna do that, keep your mouth shut afterwards. Do you know what I mean? They do need to stamp it out. Hmm. Why is the Ferrari overtaking their teammate in the pit lane there? We talked about this, and this is an interesting point, though, John. This was what happened. Jeddah's a better example, okay? In Jeddah, he had 30 seconds worth of penalties for various things. I can't even remember what they were for now. Does anyone remember exactly what those penalties were for? But he was driving, stopping Albon. He was literally slowing in the high-speed corners and doing the most aggressive defending you could imagine when he had 30 seconds of penalties because he knew, well, what else are they going to do to me? And he was doing that so that his teammate, Hulkenberg, could get a gap ahead of him. Well, at that point, the steward should have the ability to call him into the pits and serve a penalty. You can't just give someone a 10-second penalty and then they carry on doing stuff in wrong. So you just keep giving them 10-second penalties because there is a point when that 10-second penalty becomes meaningless, doesn't it? You know, at the end of the day, if you give someone in 20th place a 10-second penalty, so what does it mean? It means nothing, does it? And so it's weird, and maybe they just need an ability to, in that situation, to be able to say, no, all right, enough's enough. In you come, you're having a drive-through. We've converted this to a drive-through on our discretion. I don't know. They need something. This is the second time we've seen something like that with Magnussen, though, you know, defending like a lion. And listen, we love to see great driving, great defensive driving and all that. But what he did was over the top. No doubt about it. Not in my mind. And ultimately, you know, he needs to. But I said this, and I'll say it again. Nothing would have come of this if he'd have kept his mouth shut. His issue is he had the penalties. If he'd just taken the penalties and then just not said anything in the interviews, just generic, like, oh, I tried my best, you know, it is what it is. I tried defending, whatever. The fact that he came out and said what he said, that's why it's now been taken further. So if something happens, he's only got himself to blame. He needs to keep his mouth shut. Needs to keep his mouth shut. Norris goes P1, 27.8. Verstappen a 10th down on that. Piastri's up as well on Norris's time. Oof. 10th and a half. Hello. Go on, Piastri. Oh, Leclerc, purple. I think Ferrari's on new tyres, though. Hamilton 7/10 down. Yikes. Russell a little bit quicker, 28.2. Charles Leclerc, 27.5. Leclerc, Piastri, and Norris on new tyres, though. Alonso only P11 on those used tyres. Stroll was ahead of him again, though. See, this is another scenario here where one of the Mercedes could get knocked out. Yellow flag, sector 3. Double yellow. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Lando was definitely mid-air. Alex Albon with a cheeky spin. Oh. The hell? That was weird. Albon's struggling a little bit. So yeah, Verstappen's in 5th, right? For 4.5 tenths off Leclerc's time, but everyone was on new tyres. Well, they were all on new tyres, but Verstappen and Perez were not. I hope the Mercedes weren't on new tyres. If they were on new tyres with those times, then they are in trouble. I tell you who's not quick around here at the minute. The Aston Martins. Aston Martins haven't exactly been putting in a great showing either, have they? Old tyres are deleted. $25 to $12 and you're still awake? Well, I'm always awake at $25 to $12. Yeah, so Alpine have actually managed to get the car to the weight limit. Lando's going out on mediums. Wow. Yeah, Alpine was heavily overweight at the beginning of the season, and now they're apparently at the limit finally, or close to it. I don't know if you've noticed, but they have started putting a little bit more paint on the car. As they lose a little bit of weight. The nose cone originally was black, and then there is painted blue now, and they were just hideously overweight, but they're closer to the limit now. Need to put that there. We go. It is nearly Senna's helmet, you're right, yeah. I might move. Oh, no. Might move that down, actually, for now. Put that there for now, because the track map isn't working properly at the minute, anyway. Yeah, so basically, it seems like the softs just aren't lasting, so... So Norris is showing softs, but he is apparently on the mediums, so... Aston will be in trouble if they're out on used tyres again because they didn't have a great lap. Hamilton and Russell, Gasly all need good laps as well because they're all in potential trouble. Hamilton especially. Stroll, Alonso. I mean, currently Fernando Alonso is 3,000ths off the time that he needs to get it out of the bottom. Stroll is a 10th and a half up though. We're going to get the second sector times now. Oh, he's right on the cusp of Gasly's time, and that's assuming Gasly doesn't improve. Stroll is less than a 10th up on Gasly's time as well. Oh, he's out. Alonso's out. P13. Perez goes P3. Lance Stroll goes P9. He's out-qualified Alonso. No, Lewis is all right. Lewis is all right. Lewis will be fine with this lap. Yeah, he goes P2. He's fine. 27.6. Lewis was 4/10ths up on the time he needed to get past Gasly, and then it changed to +1 from Leclerc. Russell had a bad first sector. Russell goes P8. But I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. There's not enough cars to push him out because Alonso and Stroll have already done their laps. It's Gasly, Ocon, and Albon that can push him out, and I don't think any of them are going to go quicker. Yeah, he was down on Leclerc's time, Daz, not on the time needed to get out. That was the difference. Albon's not improving, so Russell, Tsunoda, and Hülkenberg are all fine, I think. Both Aston Martins out. Wow. Alonso P15. Wow. So Stroll 11, Gasly 12th, Ocon 13th, Albon 14th, Alonso 15th. And Hamilton somehow pulled out a lap only a 10th slower than Charles Leclerc out of nowhere. Did he get a toe or something that we didn't see? Yikes. I don't know where that came from. Brock, how you doing? Yeah, I was just saying that the Aston Martins didn't seem like they had that much pace this weekend, did they? But Fernando's struggling from somewhere. Listen, we don't see Fernando being out-qualified by Lance Stroll very often. I mean, Fernando did a 28.4. Stroll did a 28.2, so Stroll was comfortably a couple of tenths up on Fernando. You don't see that very often. I didn't see Fernando's lap, but obviously he was struggling. Well, they both were, weren't they? Both the Aston Martins struggling. Oof. So Kevin Magnussen has been given 3 penalty points. for his repeated incidents in the sprint race. He's now got 8 penalty points for the past 12 months. I don't know if there's anything further. I don't think so. Well, he's got 8 penalty points now. I think it's... Is it 9 or 11? Before you get a... Before you get a race ban. Or is it 12? It might be 12. I can't remember off the top of my head, actually. I should probably know that, but I can't remember. But he's now got 8 for 12 months. But... You'll just keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? You'll just keep doing it. So, yeah. They only tend to give them out 3 at a time as well. So he's got another 2 instances, really. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know where that Lewis lap came from. I enjoy the principle of the Hamilton and K-Mag scrap, but I didn't enjoy the way K-Mag was driving. It's just, that's not racing. You know, intentionally forcing another driver off the track repeatedly, that's not racing. If that's the case, we may as well just have bumper cars and be done with it. I think there is a genuine battle for pole here. It's not a shoe-in for Verstappen to get it, by the way. The Ferraris look pretty quick. The McLarens look quick. I don't think it's a guarantee that Max will get it, even though I still believe he will. There needs to be a balance, right? I don't want drivers to be penalised for the smallest of things. I really don't. And so I don't want the stewards to be able to just throw bloody stop-go penalties and drive-through penalties at drivers for next to nothing. Likewise, I don't want to see drivers doing, just braking so late that they're never going to make a corner, but they know that the driver overtaking them can't overtake round the outside. And this is something we've seen. We've seen this for the past 3 years. I was saying this earlier. Brazil, Lewis, Verstappen. This is a prime example. Jeddah, 2021. Max was literally doing this in 2021. And again, I'm not even blaming Max. Max was pushing the limits, and the FIA repeatedly didn't do anything. This was literally what he was doing in Brazil. He did it in Brazil. He literally just wouldn't take the corner, so Lewis couldn't get past him. Jeddah, turn 1. He just held on the brakes to make sure Lewis couldn't get past, even though he would just brake so late he would never make the corner. He was doing it then. And eventually, he did get penalised. But the FIA have never been strict enough on drivers intentionally, knowing they can't make a corner, but I'm not going to make the corner so that you can't make the corner. They haven't been strict on it. And so there needs to just be a fine balance between fair driving, fair racing, hard racing, and drivers not being able to abuse the systems, right? And I don't know what the solution is, but there's got to be a better solution than what we've got right now, because you know, you can't just keep giving 10-second penalties to a car just repeatedly. You got a 10-second penalty. Oh, you're still a bad boy. Another 10-second penalty. He's like, well, I'm already out of the points. I don't give a fuck. Keep giving me penalties. I don't care. You know, so. Nando is on mediums, guys. Now, just to be clear, Lando was much quicker yesterday in the sprint on the mediums in SQ2 compared to the softs in SQ3. So, I'm just saying, it is a bold strategy. I still don't know if Lewis got like a toe or something on his lap. I don't know how he was so far up all of a sudden, but... Yeah, he's had a good weekend, Charles Leclerc, so far with his... Right. Hamilton's out on his first lap. Mercedes been very strong in this first sector, like we've said a few times. It's the sector they've been the strongest at, Mercedes. They've been the strongest of any of the cars, actually. And that might have something to do with the fact with how much wing they're running, maybe. I don't know. They do seem to be running more wing than the other teams. Yeah, I think Hamilton maybe went too deep there. With the camera angles, it's quite hard to tell. It's hard to judge from those camera angles. Oh yeah, he did take two turns of wing. You're right. Yeah. .28.6 from Lewis. I think Russell might be a little bit quicker, and then Verstappen. Half a second quicker? What the hell? Perez was 27.7. Lewis must have lost time there. It was hard to tell from that offboard. Verstappen. Yeah, half a second up on Perez. Yikes. Half a second off Norris on the mediums. Charles Leclerc. Oh, P2 27.3. Sainz to 27.4. Yeah. Yeah, it's good for Oscar, yeah. Oh, yeah, Hamilton definitely had no grip. Jesus. Sliding all over the place. That's wild, isn't it? How can it go from having such a good lap to something that is undrivable in the space of 10 minutes? It's wild, isn't it? Sainz Hulkenberg impeding. We didn't see that. Was Russell on new tyres as well? There's no way he was 8/10 off, surely. Honestly, I think Mercedes will just be happy they made it into Q3, if I'm being 100% truthful with you. I don't think they would have been thinking they were guaranteed a slot in Q3. Not with how they were in the sprint qualifying. I love the sound of the guns. It's just. No, oh, excuse me. Do you know what? Piastri's actually been having a pretty good. He's been having a pretty good weekend so far, hasn't he, Oscar? Let's be fair. He's actually been pretty quick, and in the sprint, he was quicker than Norris in the sprint qualifying, and Norris has got all the upgrades. However, obviously, Lando did have his, mistakes. He had a messy first sector, we know that, but... Look at that fresh rubber for Maxo Verstappen. Right, here we go. Final laps for everyone. Piastri and Perez already out on the circuit. Oh, yeah. Carlos Sainz definitely did impede Hulkenberg. Oh, he's definitely on the racing line. Ay. I think Sainz will get a penalty for that. No further investigation. Instantly, no further investigation for impeding. Okay. That looked like a slam dunk to me. All right, fair enough. Okay. I didn't see... Oh my God, Mercedes have gone out on the mediums. Didn't they just see what Lando did? Didn't they just see what Lando did? Why are they doing this? They didn't, they struggled on the mediums in sprint qualifying and didn't even make it through. Why are they going out on mediums? Why? Let's just see. Let me just see, okay? Let me see. Lando's gone from mediums onto softs. I'm gonna reserve judgment until they've done their laps, and then I'll criticize them. Let's do it that way, rather than me overreacting and then them pulling laps out of their ass and me going, okay, I was wrong. Let's not do it that way around. Let's wait. On paper, though, it doesn't seem like the right decision to me. Even though the softs aren't lasting, so they're thinking mediums, at least they'll be able to last, which the logic I understand. But Norris tried it, didn't make it work. He's gone back out on softs now. I'm not sure about it. Let's see how it works for them. Max Verstappen has started his lap. Well, they don't need to do that anymore, T. You don't need to do your fastest lap on the tyres you want to start the race on. So they don't need to go out if they don't think they can improve. They just wouldn't go out again. So Verstappen is up a tenth, almost a tenth, on his own time. Looks tidy from Charles Leclerc. Oh, he's a bit loose, but Charles Leclerc is pretty much equal Verstappen's time there, though. So Verstappen is not... Oh, Christ, Perez has crossed the line, guys, and is in fourth, and Piastri is in fifth. Neither have improved. Oh, Charles Leclerc is 4/10 down. Verstappen didn't improve either. Charles Leclerc hasn't improved. Sainz hasn't improved. That's going to be your top four. Norris improves and goes quicker than Piastri, but only P5 for Norris. Hamilton's 7/10 down on his time. Well, on Verstappen. Russell's slower and slower. First sector, second sector. Yeah, Hamilton goes 8th. Russell's going to be 7th. Yeah. Where's the speed of the McLarens gone, guys? Where's the speed of the McLarens gone that we saw yesterday in sprint qualifying? Where's that gone? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, SQ2, yesterday was a little bit flat to deceive a little bit because I thought McLaren had more pace. I honestly thought McLaren had more pace in their back. I thought that from yesterday, I thought we were going to see... I thought we were going to see a better showing from McLaren.
Grease subscription received. Apparently you were doing something right, Captain.
What the bloody hell is going on with these soft tires?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, they need something. I mean, honestly, listen, guys, the circuit's shit, isn't it? Bestie, thank you very much for the 22 months, by the way. The Miami circuit's just a bit bad, isn't it? You know, it's just a bit bad. It's not great, is it? It's not great. Right, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining me for qualifying. I very much appreciate you. I very much appreciate all of you. I will be back tomorrow for the race at 9 o'clock UK time. So thank you very much if you're watching on YouTube, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye. If you're watching on Twitch, I think we're going to try and just play a quick tickle of Counter-Strike.